right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and welcome Margaret, Devin, and Shannon to the channel. It is so exciting to get to meet all of you.
Yay!
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
My
Nice
pleasure.
to be invited.
Yes, I am so excited. Last week, we were talking about, before we went live, we had the Indie Fantasy Addict admin team on, and we were talking about the summer reading challenge. And if you're on here as a reader and you're like, wait a minute, where are the reader things? That's still in the playlist if you scroll down on the channel, but you don't have to go away. Maybe you want to become a writer and get to dip your feet a little bit. Today, we're talking about the Authortube Writing Conference that is coming up this weekend. It is free. And the lineup this event has is just, whoo, it's packed with so many great people, so many great topics. So why don't you guys sort of tell us a little bit about what the Authortube Writing Conference is, who it's for, like is this for new writers, not yet writers, published writers, what your sort of vision is for the conference?
Okay. I would also add, for anybody who's here who's a reader, check out the lineup because you might see some of your favorite authors who are talking. So it's like a chance to, see them live and get a chance to talk, be there. But yeah, so the idea of the conference is it's supposed to be inclusive of every writer, hopefully every writer, whether you're a beginning writer, you're an experienced writer, that there will be, topics covering that wide range, as well as publishing writers, whether traditional or indie publishing. It is more stacked toward the indie side because there is more indie writers on YouTube, and that is the platform where the conference is held. I have tried my best to reach out to traditional authors, to traditionally published or people who work with traditionally published authors as well. I got a literary agent this year, but over the first couple of years, I tried hard and I got shot down or didn't get a response most of the time. So,
and all the organization is just incredible. And for those who are watching who don't know, Margaret and Devin and Shannon are behind the scenes helping make this all come together and make this all work. But you are also authors, industry experts yourselves. So, Devin, you want to kick us off and maybe we'll go around and just tell us a little bit about who you are, how you ended up as part of this project, and if you write, what do you write?
Hey everyone, my name's Devin and I write fantasy and steampunk. I'm also the founder of All Call Indie, which is a database of freelancers for indie authors. And 95% of the freelancers out in there are indie authors. So I was hopping around on streams, doing some sprints, working on finishing my book, and I ended up on Shannon's stream. And she found out about All Call Indie because I put it out there. And she asked if I would be able to help with the AWC.
So you volunteered as tribute.
I wanted to add to that I actually, Devin, I didn't remember how we actually connected. I figured we connected on a stream somewhere. But yeah, Margaret and I, we've been looking for a third chair because there's definitely, enough to do with the conference. So we really needed a third chair. And we were going through names. I mean, we probably every single time we met, we were going through names. And then Devin came across my radar and I was like, look, she does this All Call Indie. This is something that she does that is a useful thing for the community. She's not charging people for her time, and her critique partner helps her with this as well. But, it's on her website where she's collecting this database and helping indie authors connect to indie authors. So I was like, that is the spirit of the Authortube Writing Conference. So yeah, Devin didn't really sell herself there. That's okay, because I will sell her. But she has the spirit of the conference. So
yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for all you do. It's definitely a wide world of freelancers out there for sure. So having to go through and vet and find reputable ones is one of the biggest things I wish I'd had a reference for when I got started, for sure. Mm-hmm. And Margaret, this is my first time meeting you, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So I have been involved with the AWC since it started, but not like helping in a volunteer role till the second year. So my memory of the past like shifts. I like to say that it's like a fog that follows behind me. And so it's like in the annals of time somewhere when I met Shannon. It feels like forever, so I couldn't say. But yeah, I've been in the YouTube space as a booktuber and authortuber for 4 years almost. My anniversary is coming up. And I started as both of those things because I love to read and I am also a writer. So I write historical fiction and I ventured a little bit into historical fantasy. And so that's sort of like my safe comfort space. But I love talking to people about writing craft and like brainstorming and just like having fun discussions about would you rather or smash or pass or what have you. All sorts of fun and games can be found on my channel. So
Yeah, you dipped your toe into all different things. It's not like your channel's just historical fiction.
Correct. There's not much of it on there, actually. I had
hashtag queen in the books you never heard of, or books. What is it?
Yeah.
What's your hashtag?
Queen of books you've never heard of.
There you go.
Because I read so many, things that are not printed anymore, or, like, what did I just do? My library book that's on loan. It's like a university press. But then I realized if I'm reviewing people who I know or who I really love their books and I'm using that hashtag, I was like, they might feel that's a little bit of a cut. And so I was like, I stopped using it. But yeah, I do read a lot of books no one has heard of. Yeah.
Some of the best treasures are the ones nobody's heard of, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And Shannon, how did all this come about? How did you get started with this? Because not only are you a writer, you're a booktuber, you're doing all these other things, and then you do this as a service too on top of it.
So I just hit my 3-year anniversary on YouTube, and when I first joined, I had heard of Authortube, but I didn't know. Like, I thought it was a secret club. Like, you had to figure out some way to get in. I didn't know how to get in. I was making videos. I was publishing them every week, and I was like, "Hello, I'm here, Authortube, I'm here." And I didn't understand. I did not do social media, so there's that. Take that into account. I didn't understand commenting on people's stuff and interacting, because that just wasn't something I ever did. And I started the channel because I knew I was going to become a full-time writer. And actually the first person, and I had been following him, was Ben Pick, and his YouTube channel is Running to Write. And he talks about writing with running metaphors. And we were commenting on each other's videos. And one day he was like, "Hey, you should come over to Barrett Laurie's channel and hang out in the chat. We're talking about things." And I was like, "Oh, that's a thing." And then figured out the Authortube thing. So that was probably about October of 2021. And then when I realized, okay, you should be like commenting on videos and stuff. And I started just doing it. All the ones I was watching, I was leaving comments, not realizing, like the bigger channels, they probably wouldn't say anything back to you. But one big channel did. And then he started watching my videos and started commenting. And I was already thinking at this point, I just now became a full-time writer and I can't even go to a conference because of the COVID. So I was looking at online conferences, but it was a lot of money. I hadn't made any money yet because I was just now getting ready to publish my first book in November of that year. So I was like, what can I do for free? And then I was learning about Authortube and how people were getting together and doing collaborations. And I was learning more about all this stuff. And I was like, what if we did it here on YouTube? And Dale L. Roberts is the gentleman I'm talking about. He reached out to me, and I was going through his lives.
Love Dale. Dale, if you're watching, we love you.
Yes, love him.
If anyone's StreamYard, we'll do that. Nope, not mine.
One day this was like in October, and he was like, "Hey, Shannon, reach out to me." I'm like, did he just say my name? I just didn't do nothing because I was like, no. And then the next week I was on his channel again. He was like, "Shannon, you did not reach out to me." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I better do this." So then I reached out to him, and it was just, it was a half-hour meeting him, "Hey, here's how you can grow on YouTube. Hey, this is how you can grow as an author. Here are different tactics I've tried that have worked," that kind of stuff. And I was already I think about things for a while in my head before I put them down on paper. And I was already thinking about the Authortube Writing Conference. I already named it Authortube Writing Conference in my head. And then at the end of my conversation with Dale, I was like, "Dale, I didn't come to this to pitch you, but I've been thinking about this idea and I want to pitch you. Are you okay with that?" And he was like, "Sure." So I pitched him the Authortube Writing Conference. And I was like, "I don't have anything written yet, but I have this idea for a packet. I'm, putting it together in my mind." He was like, "Look, write it all out, send it to me, and I'll let you know how I feel about it." And I knew then it was a big project. I had first reached out to Margaret, but she was really, really busy. So then I reached out to my first partner, Jenna O'Malley, and I was like, "Hey, can you do this with me?" I said, "I have a packet that I'm putting together, and you can read it, and stuff." And then we sent it out to Dale, and he was our first keynote speaker. So yeah, that's how it's got. And Dale did offer me, he has lifetime access to a platform where people can do online conferences, where they could do online conferences, and you get to charge a ticket price. And he was like, "Look," and this is before we told anyone about Jenna and I just got together. We were talking about how we were going to do this. And I was like, what do you think, Jenna? I was like, this is not my vision. My vision is something that's free, affordable, accessible in every way. And I was like, but I mean, if we want to grow and make money, this is another, but it's not really what I thought. That was not really my plan. And she kind of agreed with what my vision was. And so I turned it down, but I would have had lifetime access to that platform where we could have charged fees for people to attend the conference. But it's not what my vision was.
Juicy detail that I didn't know before now.
I mean, I think as an author-tuber, that's one of the things I wasn't prepared for. And I'm like the baby author-tuber of this group. I feel I've only been doing this for a couple years, and Jess is like, oh, a side hobby. Let me show how my writer journey goes. But people are like, well, why are you doing it? How are you going to monetize it? What is your purpose in it? It's like, well, I don't know if I will monetize it. And then it sort of creeps up on you, and you're like, why am I doing it? What are you going to do? So that's all really great insights, just to hear that someone like you, Shannon, and someone like Margaret, y'all been doing this 3 or 4 years, are still figuring out your channel as you go in a way.
Yep.
I always say never discount anything, because at the time that Dale was commenting on my videos, I think the very first comment he left on a video, I had like 60 plus, 60 some 63 or something like that subscribers. That was it. I didn't have that many subscribers. So, you know, don't give up, and, you know, reach out. You never know who's going to respect it. I did it out of naivety. I didn't know that big AuthorTubers we're not going to respond, you know, but he did. So
that's awesome. So you were talking about this conference, and we said at the beginning, it's up in the title, it's in the description box, but I'm sure someone's going to ask. This is 100% free for the conference. There's no hidden snags or anything like that. Like, oh, well, if you want the packet, it's X amount of dollars, or you want to watch the replays of the playlist, it's X amount of dollars. It's like, this is just free.
Not only that, we have $4,500 worth of giveaway prizes for the conference.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the conference this year. I went through and started looking at the schedule, and there is so much packed in. It's this coming weekend, just a couple days, and there are, gosh, how many speakers are there even giving presentations this year?
I think it's 44, but I know it's over 40. So
wow. Yeah, that's amazing. So can you guys give us any hints at ones that are particularly interesting to you this year? Maybe ones that weren't on previous years, or new topics?
I could say one thing that's going to be different. One of the things that we changed was the themes. So we don't have those. So the topics, I think, are more free to be wherever. I don't know if people felt that in the application process or what, but we had tried to sort of give people a guiding topic to give them ideas beforehand in the last year, which was technology. And we were considering topics for this year and didn't find anything that really hit. And we're wondering if that was a holding back point for people. And so we abolished it this year as an experiment. And, you know, I think we have great topics. I'm seeing a lot of world building mixed through people's presentations, which I love, because my presentation is about, are you doing too much world building? How do you jump out of that pot and get on the page? That kind of thing. But yeah, because I love it so much. So
yeah, and I'm going to drop the link up too, because we've got a lot of people watching on Twitter. So while the YouTube folks, you can just go down to the description box and click in the description box. Maybe want to hop over there, Twitter people, to get all of these organizers' personal links too. Here it is on the screen for you if you want to get the schedule. And you don't even have to like register. The playlist is there, so you can click. So you don't have to go, okay, let me put in my email address and sign up and remember to go get it. It's not on Zoom or anything. You just go to the playlist and watch, which is super, super convenient. I had a couple questions looking through it. So do the playlists stay up permanently?
Yes. I was just about to say that the speakers sign an agreement at the beginning that they'll leave their YouTube presentation up for the Authortube Writing Conference for the life of their channel or for the life of the Authortube Writing Conference. There is one that has come down. I've never reached out because I just didn't have time, but there is one who pulled theirs down. I think it was because they did have technical difficulties. And so I think maybe they didn't like the quality of the video. That's the only reason I'm thinking, but yeah, they should stay up there for a while. So
you can catch all different ones for sure. We got Dale on this year, I believe, and Christina is coming on this year to do a really interesting looking presentation. and there's just a whole broad range of topics. Do you guys feel like there is content here for people who haven't picked up the pen yet, or should they be further along in their writing journey?
No, I think there's definitely a lot here for even somebody who's even thinking about writing, like, oh, I can do this. This is how I do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then if someone on the opposite end, they've published a lot, they've been publishing for years, and they sort of have their routine, do you feel like they can gain something from some of the panels? And if so, which ones would you sort of say, hey, you might want to look at this one, you might want to think about that one?
Definitely the marketing, because that constantly changes. Almost monthly, if you think about it, it changes. So any new information on marketing and sometimes publishing process, best places to publish, going wide or narrowing it down.
I would also say there are some like technologies or softwares that are going to be talked about, like Autocrit is one. We also have Notion being talked about. These things some authors may have never heard of, might get benefit out of it. And I would say probably the biggest one, especially for those who have been publishing for a while, they're going to be interested in Dale's his presentation. He has 8 publishing companies, 8 self-publishing companies or indie publishing companies. They're talking about the future of publishing.
Yeah.
And in general, oh yeah, go ahead, Margaret. Sorry.
I was just going to say that both for beginner writers and for experienced writers, part of the joy of any conference, whether virtual or in person, is that even if you don't need to apply the things that are being talked about, you're getting familiar with things in your industry, and also you're sort of catching on to the excitement. So you get to meet people in the chat, meet people who have channels, and like channel some of that excitement. Like if you have never published something before, but you have people talking about different what's the word for platforms, different platforms, and you know which one is better at what, and you're kind of thinking like, oh, this is the things I need to think about in the future. I think it just sort of fuels getting ready to face that, or putting it in the back of your mind. I'm a big fan of focusing on one task but having like 99 in the back running. So I think writers do that naturally.
Yeah. And I think that the fact that we do have stuff that's about publishing, but we also have lots of presentations about the craft. I mean, I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but I know whenever I go to anywhere, whether, it's a conference or, some type of retreat, when you get that talking about craft and you're around other writers who this is what they're looking at, I get like a sense of that. I get a lot of creativity comes to me. I feel that bump in my creativity.
Yeah. So with that being said, is there any advice that you guys have, having been a part of this for multiple years, for how people can be prepared to get the most this weekend? Because I know sometimes when you go to a conference, it's a lot of information. It can be overwhelming, especially if you're new and it's all new. The lingo is new. It's all foreign. What advice do you have for people?
So one of these.
I was thinking notebook.
Yes. Yeah. Get it from the merch store on the AWC website. Support the conference.
Mine's on its way. Hopefully it gets here tomorrow.
Nice. So what I would do with any conference is look at the schedule. This is like me, how I traveled and trip plan, right? I look at the schedule. I decide, okay, which ones are the most high interest, which of those are at the same time. So I have to choose which one to see live. Write those down, look at the people who are giving the talk. Maybe you want to follow their channels. And then sort of make a list of okay, then I want to go back and do these things. The other thing to keep in mind as you're going through is that if you give feedback better immediately while it's fresh in your mind, you might want to just note or get a checklist for yourself saying, okay, these are the ones I went to. I did a feedback form for each of these, because every time you send one in, not only do you get entered to win giveaway prizes, but it also is really helpful trying to plan for next year. What do we want to put more effort into? Who do we want to go after? What kinds of formats were better? Because we're constantly tweaking, how we ask people to do the formats and what's easiest. That kind of stuff. So plan your priorities, get a notebook, and send in those feedback forms would be my top 3.
And the feedback forms will be linked in all of the speakers' description boxes. And you can fill them out anonymously if you don't want to share your info, which just means you won't be entered into the giveaways. But if you do, and you can fill out one for every single presentation you watch, even if you watch it after it's done, at the end of the day. So definitely do that. And then we'll leave the feedback forms open for about a month after the conference for anybody who wants to, still submit. The giveaways will be done. But yes, that, like Margaret says, getting those feedback forms is very helpful for us to know what's working, what's not working.
Yeah. And find the cat, find a quiet corner or a closet and be like, I'm leaving the world for 2 days.
Yes, basically.
Oh, goodness.
I was at my parents' house last year when I was doing this. I was visiting family in California, and I was literally like, I'm going to be here for 8 hours. I'm going to emerge at intervals. Please don't try to distract me. I need to go to the bathroom, and I need to grab a sandwich, and then I can't talk. It was fun.
So I know that on Twitter, there's an Authortube Writing Challenge account, and I think maybe on a couple other socials too. But how can people connect during this challenge? If they have like, I'm buzzing, I've got to talk to somebody about what I watched. How can we connect with the community? Is it going to be, like you mentioned earlier, Shannon, in the comments during that live stream or in the comments after the live stream, like chatting with people there? Should they head on over to the Twitter account or wherever and post there?
I mean, we've tried out a couple different things over the years. Like last year, we tried after hours. What did we call them? The get-togethers after hours. We got rid of them this year. So they were basically, we let the speakers, some of them volunteered to have, a get-together on their channel after everything was done, so people could talk about the conference. But we thought maybe it didn't work so well. Not as many people attended them. We do have a Discord. We've talked about opening a Discord for attendees as well, but we haven't made it that far yet. And since we haven't advertised it, I don't know if that's something we're going to do this year. We do have the Discord right now just for volunteers, but I think it'd be nice if we could open up something on there for attendees eventually. Mm-hmm. So otherwise, yeah, we've got the chats on each live stream that you can go to and talk to people and meet people. Or if you like to just, not integrate because some people are shy, you can just watch the chat and get to know people that way. So
lurkers unite. Oh, that's wonderful. So can you guys remind the people who have come in late, who weren't here at the beginning, what are the dates for the Authortube Writing Conference this year?
June 28th, 29th, and 30th, and we kick off at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Friday.
Yeah.
And Saturdays and Sundays, we start at
international peeps.
Yeah, we start at 10.
Yeah, and then it just goes and goes and goes like the Energizer Bunny, and you guys hopefully get to sleep at some point.
It's going to be better already. It's already better than last year because I didn't know how to do the website. My partner from the year before did it. I was not sleeping. I crashed the website Thursday night. I went to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to fix it. Had to get back up at 5. Went to the gym, and I was almost late for the opening session. Because I was so tired because I couldn't get the website to work. It still wasn't working by the time the conference happened. That I missed. I'm not Eastern, so I didn't do the time zone difference right, and I was tired. So this year it's much better. We've got lots of people helping us. Of course, Devin came on board to kind of help out and relieve some of the pressure there. So yeah, it's gonna be great this year. Everything's working smoothly. We've only had one person drop out of the conference so far. Usually at this point, we've already had 3 or 4 people drop out.
Yeah. Yeah,
and there is a playlist. So for people who are like, where am I seeing this? If you can either go to the website that I pulled up on the screen earlier and go to the schedule tab, there's a link to the playlist. Or if you're watching on YouTube, just open the description box and you can click the playlist and bookmark it for quick reference.
There's also now the attendee packet, which is on the schedule page on the website. You can just download that and have that in hand, and everybody's presentation is linked. So you can go to all the presentations from there.
That's fantastic. And it's free for the people coming in late.
Yes.
And it's free.
And it's free. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time to be on, for talking about the conference, for putting together the conference for us. I was scrolling through, and just so many of the names this year, for me personally, were people whose channels I watched to help me on my writing journey. And so I can't put into words how much I appreciate what you guys do, what you've done for this community.
You can volunteer for next year.
Yes.
So, there we go.
I would also say the Authortube community is varied. I mean, there are, you think you know Authortube, here it is, and then you find out, oh, here's another lane over there. I've just found like 3 new Authortubers in the last week. And I was like, wow, I've never even heard of these people before. And so, yes, if you've got people that you're not seeing at the conference that you know you want to hear from them, tell them to apply for next year. We'll have applications open probably about a couple months after the conference is over, but it'll be toward the end of the year. We'll have applications open up.
That's awesome. Yes. And if you're a big author, like if Brandon Sanderson is somehow watching this and you want to support the conference, you can do that too.
Yes. Got a Ko-fi.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you all so much. I have all of these amazing organizers' links to their own personal stuff in the description box. And one of the best ways you can pay it forward to an indie author is by reading their books. If you like the book or don't like the book, just want to leave an honest review, reviewing the book. So yeah, grabbing the book, reading the book, reviewing the book, and then of course tuning into the writer conference and just watching all those amazing panels. Right over 2025.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Awesome.
So many. Thank you all so much again. Best of luck. And for the authors, happy writing, happy publishing.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.